Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Mike Benitez. Today we're gonna do another ship pilots video of a ship involved in the Pearl Harbor attack. And this battleship was called the USS California. Let's begin the story, shall we? California was the second ship of the Tennessee class. Her sister ship, Tennessee, would also be at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Construction of California began in 1916, and she was commissioned in 1921. Here's the armament of USS California. And here we see California at high speed in the year she was commissioned, 1921. In her life in the 1920s, California was part of competed in the Ironman Trophy, which was the trophy of the General Excellency Trophy of capital ships in the Pacific. California first won the trophy in 1924 and held it for 3 years. Held it out for 3 years. It was expelled and wasn't revived until 1948. By that time, USS California was decommissioned. California was one of the first ships to receive the new RCM CXAM radar system that was made in 1940. She was one of six battleships, or American ships in general, that received this new radar system. In 1929, California was modernized and was kept in this design until her unfortunate encounter in Pearl Harbor. But during the time, she and the other 14 battleships of the Pacific Fleet would compete were in San Francisco and would compete in exercises. And then in 1939, she was sent to Hawaii, where the attack would happen, and the USS California almost lost her life. Here we see California firing a broadside, which is probably during the exercises, judging that this picture was not taken until before 1941. Here we see the arrangement of the ships in Battleship Row in Pearl Harbor. California was the last ship in Battleship Row and had no other battleships either outside of her or protecting her. This led her full-out explodes to all Japanese planes that attacked her. As the attack began, California was hit by 2 torpedoes and began taking on severe amounts of water. Then California was hit by 2 bombs. One was a near-miss bomb, and this ruptured her hull plates, and she began to sink. Luckily, Pearl Harbor was only 40 feet of water, and so California rested down with only her superstructure still visible on the ocean surface. Here we see California during salvage operations in 1942. And here is another picture of the USS California in the once under salvation. And here's another distraught-looking picture of the California soon, or probably right after the attack on Pearl Harbor. There were 100 casualties on board California and 62 injuries. A few of the men that died on California are Machinist Mate First Class Robert R. Scott, Ensign, what was his name again? Ensign Herbert C. Jones, and Chief Radioman Thomas James Reeves. Since California was severely damaged during the attack on Pearl Harbor, her reconstruction wasn't completed until 1944, 3 years later. Here we see California once she was reconstructed. Throughout 1944, the California would find her guns a useful approach in the invasions of Guam and Tinian. However, on August 24th, 1944, California was sent to dry dock for repairs on her port bow after a collision with, you won't believe this, her sister ship USS Tennessee. What a coincidence that both ships were sister ships of the other ship, and they got into a collision together. One of the most successful battles with the USS California was the Battle of the Sarajevo Strait in World War II during the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Here, California, along with her sister ship Tennessee, the Maryland, the West Virginia, the Nevada, the Pennsylvania, and the Mississippi, all except the Mississippi, were ships from Pearl Harbor, were able to destroy the Japanese fleet. However, in 1945, California was hit by a kamikaze, killing 44 of her crew and injuring 155 men. Still, she was able to cover bombardments during the Luzon invasion. California was then able, after she was repaired, California was then able to return to action in Okinawa. During her life in World War II, California was then nicknamed the Prune Barge. Here we see California's 14-inch / 15 caliber gun turrets in August of 1945. After several more operations in the Philippines, California was then over for her life in World War II. It would soon be that the California, nicknamed the Prune Barge, that had once survived the attack on Pearl Harbor and had also survived a collision with her sister ship Tennessee, would not survive at what was about to come next. California was put on reserve in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in 1946, and in 1947, she was decommissioned. There was nothing left to save the USS California. The powerful Prune Barge was scrapped in 1959. California was one of the few lucky battleships that survived the attack on Pearl Harbor that were sunk and were later repaired and brought back to life. The other two would be the USS Nevada and the USS West Virginia. Arizona and Oklahoma were complete losses, and Pennsylvania had suffered only one bomb, while Maryland and Tennessee had only suffered 2 bombs. Thank you guys for hearing the story of the USS California, nicknamed the Prune Barge. Or the Prune Barge, I mean. In the next video, we'll be talking about another battleship that was involved in the attack on Pearl Harbor, and a lesser known one, like the Tennessee, the USS Maryland. Thank you everybody for joining the video. I'm Mike Benitez. This is Mike Benitez signing out on the story of the USS California. Have a nice day, everybody.